Hey Cowboys Nation, welcome back. It's that time of the off-season where the landscape of the league feels like it could shift at any moment. Headlines from different corners seem to converge, and suddenly you realize that what happens in one city can ripple across the entire conference. The talk around John Harbaugh possibly joining the Giants continues to intensify. And if it actually happens, it immediately redefines how that franchise is perceived. A coach of Harbaugh's experience stepping into a division rival is never just a headline. It forces everyone in the NFC East to reconsider long-term strategy, identity, and competitive posture. It is the kind of move that doesn't just influence the next season, but sets the tone for years to come. From Dallas' perspective, the mere possibility of Harbaugh in New York is enough to spark debate across the fan base. On one hand, his reputation for toughness, clarity, and consistent success makes it easy to imagine a rival suddenly gaining momentum. On the other hand, questions linger about whether his philosophy would translate seamlessly into a new environment, or if adjustments would be necessary. Regardless of opinion, it serves as a clear reminder that the NFC East is far from stagnant. Teams are actively reshaping themselves, and Dallas cannot afford to treat this offseason as a routine cycle. Every decision, every conversation, every evaluation carries weight, because the margin for falling behind is shrinking. That sense of urgency is most evident in the Cowboys' ongoing search for a defensive coordinator. This is not a quiet or superficial process. It is expansive, methodical, and deliberately thorough, signaling a shift from past approaches. Each new candidate considered adds layers to the evolving picture of what the organization wants in its next defensive leader. Youth, flexibility, and a modern understanding of defensive football seem to be at the top of the criteria, even if embracing those qualities introduces some uncertainty. It is a conscious choice to prioritize potential over precedent, and that mindset is quietly redefining how Dallas approaches coaching decisions. One name generating considerable interest is Christian Parker. His background stands out without feeling repetitive. He has worked extensively with defensive backs and has deep familiarity with schemes designed to counter modern passing offenses across multiple systems. He has gained exposure to defenses emphasizing structure, discipline, and disguised coverages, which makes him a flexible thinker rather than a rigid system follower. Parker's mix of professional and collegiate experience offers an intriguing perspective, suggesting he can navigate both complex game plans and personnel-driven adjustments. This blend of skills, combined with his relative lack of previous coordinator experience, positions him as a candidate worth watching. It reflects a broader theme in Dallas' approach, a willingness to invest in upside, rather than rely solely on experience or reputation. Similarly, Charlie Bolin has drawn attention for his recent work with the Giants, stepping into significant responsibilities without long-term security. He consistently demonstrated adaptability, creativity, and an ability to maximize the strengths of his personnel. These are qualities increasingly valued in today's NFL, where injuries and roster turnover are constants, and the capacity to adjust on the fly often separates effective coordinators from average ones. Bolin's roots in coaching linebackers, combined with exposure to aggressive defensive schemes, add depth to his candidacy. He may not be the most high-profile name, but his profile fits a strategic approach that emphasizes growth, consistency, and sustainable performance over headline-making short-term sparks. The volume of interviews taking place underscores how seriously Dallas is approaching this search. A wide-ranging process increases the likelihood of finding a coach whose philosophy aligns with the team's vision rather than simply choosing the safest or most familiar option. Candidates are being evaluated across multiple dimensions: defensive line tactics, secondary coverage, linebacker development, and situational acumen. The interconnected nature of these coaching networks highlights how ideas circulate and evolve, making this process not only about hiring the right person, but also about integrating those ideas into a cohesive unit. Strategically, the team has begun preliminary discussions remotely, allowing for careful assessment of coaching philosophies, communication styles, and overall vision before moving to in-person interviews. This measured approach provides flexibility, especially when evaluating high-profile candidates who might not need to engage in every preliminary step. It demonstrates patience, a trait not always associated with this organization, but one that is crucial when the stakes are high and long-term outcomes matter more than immediate optics. Among the names consistently mentioned is Brian Flores. His defensive expertise is respected league-wide. And his contractual situation opens doors that were previously unavailable. Flores brings intensity, structure, and a proven ability to transform defenses quickly for Dallas. The considerations are less about capability and more about timing and fit. Flores' ambitions beyond coordinating roles complicate the equation, but the possibility of him taking the helm of the Cowboys' defense is compelling. His schemes are aggressive yet disciplined, and his units have a history of playing fast, confident football. The speed with which other teams have moved to engage with him adds subtle pressure, creating that familiar tension of wondering whether Dallas is exercising patience or waiting too long. What stands out in this search is that it is about more than filling a vacancy. It is about defining the future identity of the Cowboys' defense. Will the team prioritize speed and versatility, or focus on pressure and physical dominance? Should the emphasis be on complex disguises and subterfuge, or on simple execution and discipline? The candidates being considered suggest a nuanced approach, blending multiple philosophies to build a unit capable of adapting to the high-powered offenses dominating the league today. Fans watching these developments are naturally drawn to speculation, but this phase of the offseason is fundamentally about gathering information, evaluating alignment, and establishing conviction. The Cowboys are exploring options that might have been dismissed in previous cycles, signaling a shift toward long-term strategy rather than short-term fixes. How these interviews unfold and which names emerge from the process will reveal just how deliberate the organization has become. It is a search for a leader who can elevate the unit sustainably, not merely generate temporary momentum or satisfy fan expectations. As the Cowboys continue their search, the deeper layers of evaluation start to take shape, revealing a process that is far more strategic than it appears on the surface. It is not merely a matter of assessing past accomplishments or flashy resumes. The team is looking at adaptability, communication, and the ability to develop talent across multiple positions. In today's NFL, defensive coordinators cannot succeed by relying solely on schematic mastery. They must be able to adjust on the fly, read offenses in real time, and get the most out of every player on the field. Dallas appears determined to find someone capable of doing all of this, while also instilling a culture of discipline, accountability, and confidence. One aspect that has become increasingly clear is the value placed on versatility. Coaches being considered are not only evaluated for their experience leading a defense, but also for their ability to contribute in other ways if necessary. Whether it is mentoring younger coaches, refining positional groups, or helping design and game adjustments, these skills add layers of value that go beyond traditional metrics. The Cowboys understand that football is no longer a game of silos. Success comes from staff cohesion, mutual understanding, and a shared vision that can withstand adversity, injuries, and constant innovation from opposing offenses. Brian Flores remains a compelling figure in these discussions. His work in transforming multiple defenses into high-performing units is well documented, and his attention to detail and adaptability stand out in a league increasingly dominated by quarterback-driven offenses. For Dallas, the questions revolve around timing, availability, and the fit between Flores' vision and the team's current roster. His presence in the conversation raises the stakes for every other candidate and underscores that the Cowboys are aiming high. The organization is not simply filling a position. They are seeking a leader capable of reshaping the defensive identity for the next era. Another theme emerging from these interviews is the integration of modern defensive principles with situational awareness. The Cowboys are evaluating how candidates approach key moments in games: third downs, red zone possessions, and late game scenarios where execution and decision-making are critical. It is one thing to design a coverage scheme or call pressures, but it is entirely another to manage personnel and adjust on the fly when stakes are at their highest. Candidates with experience navigating these high-pressure moments are being scrutinized closely because the margin for error in Dallas' current roster is smaller than ever, and the NFC East is not a forgiving environment. Christian Parker and Charlie Bolin continue to be part of the conversation because they represent a forward-looking approach. Parker's exposure to different systems, combined with his knowledge of secondary and passing game strategies, makes him a candidate who can think creatively while adhering to core principles of discipline. Bolin's experience with linebackers and his ability to maximize talent under pressure suggest a coach who can adapt without losing the integrity of the system. Both coaches embody a philosophy that blends flexibility with structure. which is exactly the type of mindset the Cowboys appear to value in building a modern defense, capable of competing at a high level year after year. The interplay between candidate backgrounds is also fascinating. Many of these coaches have worked under similar philosophies or within interconnected coaching trees, which means the ideas being introduced are not isolated, but part of a broader network of evolving defensive thought. This interconnectedness allows the Cowboys to evaluate not only the individual candidate, but also the potential ripple effects on staff, cohesion, game planning, and long-term adaptability. It is a level of strategic foresight rarely seen in traditional coaching searches, but one that is becoming increasingly necessary in an era where offenses evolve at a dizzying pace. Staff construction beyond the coordinator role remains another critical consideration. Candidates who bring versatility to multiple positions or can assist in developing younger coaches add tremendous value. The Cowboys are looking for leaders who can mentor, communicate, and integrate seamlessly with a staff that must operate as a cohesive unit. Continuity, collaboration, and clear lines of responsibility are now as important as schematic knowledge, because young players rely on consistent instruction and confident leadership to thrive in a complex, fast-moving league environment. Patience has also become a defining element of this process. The Cowboys are methodically weighing options, not rushing to fill the position for the sake of optics. Every day the league generates new developments, coaches become available, rivals make moves, and information about prospective hires emerges. The organization is carefully balancing the need for decisiveness with the long-term benefits of thorough evaluation. This approach signals a subtle but meaningful shift toward strategic planning, rather than reactive decision-making. As the process unfolds, the alignment between candidates' philosophies and Dallas' current roster is under close examination. Modern offenses rely on speed, space, and quarterback mobility, which puts a premium on defenders who can cover multiple zones, execute complex schemes, and maintain discipline under duress. The Cowboys are evaluating whether each candidate's approach will enhance the strengths of the roster while addressing weaknesses in coverage, pass rush, and situational execution. The goal is not to find a one-dimensional coordinator, but a leader capable of building a defense that complements the offense while challenging opponents in every game scenario. At the same time, the culture of development is central. Candidates are being assessed for their ability to teach, communicate, and foster accountability. Coaches who inspire trust and demonstrate clarity in instruction tend to accelerate player growth, particularly among younger athletes still adjusting to the professional level. The Cowboys appear focused on ensuring that whoever is selected can create an environment where both veterans and newcomers thrive, ultimately translating individual growth into collective performance on the field. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. After a season filled with criticism and speculation surrounding the Dallas Cowboys' struggles, Cam Newton has made a surprising admission about quarterback Dak Prescott, sparking a storm of chatter across the NFL. Known for being outspoken and unafraid to share his opinions, Newton had spent much of the season openly critiquing Prescott's performance, questioning his decision-making under pressure and consistency in leading the team. The comments often made headlines, fueling debates among fans and analysts alike about the state of the Cowboys' offense and whether Prescott was facing mounting pressure that could impact his long-term future with the franchise. However, in a recent interview that many insiders are calling a shocker, Newton appeared to pivot completely. Sources close to the quarterback report that Newton acknowledged Prescott's resilience and leadership in ways he hadn't before. While he stopped short of apologizing outright, Newton's remarks suggested a newfound respect for his former rival, hinting that some of his earlier criticisms might have been influenced by the frustrations of a season plagued by injuries and inconsistent performances across the team. You see a lot from the outside, but until you've been in that situation, you don't fully understand the pressure, Newton reportedly said, underscoring the difficulty of leading a team like the Cowboys amidst high expectations. The Cowboys' locker room, according to insiders, has been tense this year, with the team grappling with injuries, coaching adjustments, and mounting scrutiny from the media and fans. Newton's comments, whether calculated or heartfelt, have only intensified speculation about the internal dynamics of the franchise. Some analysts are reading this as a sign that Prescott may be gaining allies, or at least a degree of validation from figures who had been publicly skeptical. Others argue it's a typical NFL narrative. Players often criticize before offering praise, keeping the rumor mill alive and fans invested in the drama off the field as much as on it, regardless. The Cowboys' ongoing struggles combined with Newton's admission have left fans and pundits alike wondering, could this shift in narrative affect Prescott's standing with the team? Or is it simply another headline in a season full of uncertainty? As the offseason approaches, all eyes will remain on Dallas, where speculation about leadership, accountability, and team chemistry continues to dominate conversations far beyond the final whistle. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.